Hey, what's going on, guys? Rome Gaming here, back another video. Today's episode, I want to do a quick little beginner's guide, almost like a quick start guide for Season 8. There's a lot of people like myself who are getting into the game late, and I just kind of want to discuss, how you could get into Torment 1 pretty quickly if you're a new player. Like, what the heck do you even need to do in Season 8? So all that I can share is my experience so far, what I've learned. So I don't expect this is not going to be like a super in-depth guide of every little thing you have to do. This is just a way that you can get started, get into Torment 1 as quickly as possible, and start doing the things that you want to do, while also kind of discussing like what the point of Season 8 is. So Season 8 is going to have these things called boss powers. If you open your inventory, come to this tab here, and you're going to have something called Spectral Ash, which you can funnel into these boss powers to upgrade them. Now, there are different types of boss powers. You have the minor boss powers, you have like the medium or the rare boss powers, and then the legendary boss powers. Now, a lot of these are unlocked by defeating more difficult bosses. Like this one here, Belial's Eye Beams. If I wanted to unlock this, you can see kind of in gray at the bottom, I have to defeat Belial in any Torment difficulty, basically, to unlock. So I've not done that yet. I'm not even through the campaign yet, or the seasonal campaign. So these are on my list to do, but really for the most part, now the most difficult thing getting started with this season is trying to understand like what you're even supposed to do. You'll get these quests that kind of pops up. I have a quest here. This is the seasonal quest. But what will happen is you'll get a seasonal quest and it will tell you to do these new seasonal incursions. And these incursions are going to help you gain this season's oath rank. Now, another thing it doesn't really tell you is this oath board that you're looking at here is going to be in this city, Tarsarak. So if you kind of zoom out, you can kind of get a general idea. It's kind of in the center. So anytime that you want to upgrade any of these boss powers or continue your seasonal journey to get your campaign quests, right, you're going to have to come to this board to see, like what your progress is. So you can see my next rank is 8. At rank 8, I will get this currency cash, and at rank 9, I will get another seasonal side quest. So that's the way you progress through the campaign, is you have to go through these little individual tiers to unlock the quests. So that's one of the things that is not obvious at all. There's not much direction or anything that really tells you to do that. What will happen is you will finish this first quest, and nothing will pop up in your quest log over here on the right. It won't tell you what to do at all, and you're going to be kind of fumbling the bag for a while trying to figure out what the heck to do. And then you will eventually come to figure out that you have to come to this board, and this kind of is your roadmap to finishing the campaign. Now, another thing that's not very obvious is how do you even increase this rank, right? We talked about incursions, but incursions, these new incursions, aren't the only way to increase that rank. And that's something that I found myself getting confused about, I guess, is I'm running these incursions over and over, and I'm like, man, this is really boring, right? Like, there's got to be a better way to raise this rank. And down here at the bottom, this description isn't the best. It says you can raise this rank through apparition incursions, which we just talked about, or bosses, which is very like general. Like what type of bosses, right? I mean, there's so many different types of bosses in this game. Like, what are you talking about? And I actually had to go to Reddit to ask this. Apparently, it is quite literally any boss in the game. It has to be considered a boss, but it doesn't have to be like the bosses that you have to provide mats for, like Duriel or Andriel. So, for example, you could run an Infernal Horde, and there are mini bosses that will spawn within that, and those mini bosses count as a boss, and you will actually get rank towards this board just for doing an Infernal Horde. You can also run pits, but the problem with pits is only the last boss will count towards this rank here, right? So that's one thing I really wanted to hit on, is how you get this oath rank. You can really do any activity in the game that has a boss. So don't be like me and just sit here and spam like 50 incursions in a row, thinking like, what the heck am I supposed to be doing? How boring is this? There's other ways that you can increase this rank outside of just doing these stupid little incursions here. So that's the first goal, is to get all the way up to rank 9, finish the seasonal quest. And once you complete the campaign, your next goal is going to be to get to the tier 18 reward. And the reason for that is because it's going to allow you to craft your mythic item. Now, there are various ways to progress through this board faster. There's a currency that you can trade in to get more oath, yada, yada, yada. I'm not going to go into all that right now. But for now, just know you want to complete this board. That's kind of your main goal. Now, you can also get a spark, like pretty much every season, right? You want to get, you can press U on your keyboard to get here, bring up the seasonal tab, and you can kind of go through the different chapters here. And once you get to chapter 7, you can scroll down. Oh, sorry, it's right here on the left. You can see here's the spark that you can use to craft your mythic. So there's 2 different sparks, and that's kind of your main goal, right? Is to work towards those sparks. Now we also have lair bosses. So if you open your map and you can kind of see this one here, you kind of see the little Diablo icon, I guess, over the dungeon. This is going to be a lair boss, and it has a chance to drop ancestral unique items and mythic unique items, so really good gear. And then it's going to require a lair key to do some of these. And I found a article here. Let me make sure that my screen's sharing. Yeah, I found an article here that kind of talks about this pretty good on Overgear. And this is kind of how the key system is going to work. So there's almost like levels to it. So there's a lair boss. We have a greater lair boss and then the exalted lair boss. So we see here at the top, we can spawn Varshan through a malignant heart. We can spawn like Beast of the Ice through distilled fear, Lord Zir through exquisite blood, etc., right? And those are going to drop a lair boss key, which can then be used to like spawn Andriel Duriel, which can then drop a key for an exalted lair boss, like an uber boss like Belial. So the question becomes, right, how do you get these initial lair boss keys? Like, how do you get an exquisite blood, right? So we can come down here, and there's a section that kind of talks about this. So you can get Living Still from Helltide Chest. You can get Distilled Fear from Nightmare Dungeons. We can get Exquisite Blood from Blood Moon Harvest, etc., right? So if we go back to the game here, you can see that I have 5 Living Steels, and I have 2 Judicator's Masks. So these are lair boss keys that I can use to open the Horde chest at the end of that dungeon. Now, one thing is, these can only be found in Torment difficulties. So you are going to have to at least get to T1 to be able to do some of this. And here's a better graphic that I actually found. So here's the Living Still, right? This will summon this boss, Gregor, which could drop a Shard of Agony, which could spawn Duriel, which will get you into a greater lair boss, which then will drop a Betrayer's Husk, which will get you into Belial, Lord of Lies, right? So there's different routes you can take based off of like what kind of keys you get, right? If you get a Living Steel, like if you get 12 Living Steel, this is the route that you're going to take. If you get 12 Distilled Fear, this is going to be the route that you take. So if I remember correctly, Distilled Fear comes from Nightmare Dungeons. Exquisite Blood comes, I believe you can get them from Blood Maiden in the Helltides, and then Living Steel, I know you can get them from Helltides as well. So Nightmare Dungeons and Helltides are how you're going to get most of this. We also have Malignant Hearts, which I believe can also drop from Helltides and Whisper Caches. So for the most part, just do Helltides, Nightmare Dungeons, you can get most of these keys. And then for the Judicator's Mask here, you can get those through running Undercity. So I'm not going to go too much more into depth on this, but that's kind of the general overall boss sort of hierarchy that you're going to have to kind of work through. So I've not had the chance to progress through it myself, but that's just kind of what I'm reading here. Another thing I want to go over is just like a quick checklist on how to even get into Torment 1. So Torment 1 isn't crazy, right? You don't have to have like glyphs or anything like that. Maybe like just the basic glyphs to kind of get the ball rolling. But I only have, just to show you guys, I only have like three boards unlocked, and I'm doing T1 just fine. But there is sort of like a small checklist that you need to do to get into T1 to be able to farm it efficiently, because T1 is kind of where things start. If you're not to T1, everything that you focus on needs to be getting to T1, because that's where you're going to be able to get better ancestral drops, just more loot and general spawns, is more mobs. It's just way more efficient to be in T1 than any lower tier. So these are the activities that you kind of need to be running to kind of get all the materials that you need to get into Torment 1. You don't have to do too much of this, to be completely honest. So the first section, the main section that I would focus on, this is just kind of like a check, right? If I need Obdicite, how do I get it? If I need boss mats or whatever, how do I get it? Now, again, boss mats have changed. This is the old, the old Undercity is used to be how you would farm boss mats effectively. So I could probably take that off, right? Boss mats, and then probably just do something like this. Because you used to go into Undercity with the Boss Match tribute to farm that, but you don't have to do that anymore. Hell Tides, Undercity by itself, and Nightmare Dungeons have had their boss mats basically buffed, so you can just kind of farm those. But again, this is just like a general checklist of things to do to get whatever, depending on what you want to focus on. But the real thing here is the gear check. So the gear check is important because this is where most of your early power is going to come from. Just getting basic runes, getting the correct aspects, follow a guide on Maxroll or something, or on our website, right? Tempering your gear, not even masterworking, to be honest. You could take this out. This kind of comes later once you get good gear. Enchanting, right? So re-rolling a specific stat, like say your build focuses on critical strike, you're going to re-roll into critical strike on all your gear, and then make sure it's just basically socketed. So a lot of the times, just getting the right talents, Paragon board, and going through this gear check, making sure your gear is up to date, that's going to be enough to get you into Torment 1. Now, a lot of that gear check can't be done unless your gear is at least a legendary. I could be wrong, but I don't believe it allows you to temper unless it's legendary. But regardless of that, I mean, you're going to see such a huge power spike between a 750 item power and something that's like 550, 600, 650, right? So your main goal to get to T1 is to get all of your gear to 750 or higher. And then, in my opinion, go through and temper it and get the correct aspects on it. Go ahead and get the right runes and sockets, and then re-roll. Like, you're going to have some pieces here. I'll show you one that I used. I got an Ancestral here. And if you look at the 62% damage, you can see the blue circle around it. I re-rolled that stat. So that stat, I believe, was maximum life, and I re-rolled it into damage. And that basically took me from 2k attack power to 3k attack power. Just that one single re-roll on one single affix. Or I guess one single stat, right? But yeah, I'm not going to get too complicated like into builds. This is the character I'm going to play, and I'll kind of do some guides on that later. But for the most part, again, just kind of going back to this, this should be enough to kind of get you into T1. And then, you play this season pretty similar like everything else. The only thing that's different is you are going for these boss powers, if I could show you. The whole idea is to spend that ash that you farm. You'll get it from doing all sorts of different events. I think you probably do get the most ash from these incursions here. But regardless, the idea is to use that ash to upgrade these boss powers. Go through the different bosses, get your powers as high as they can. You can see that there's different ranks. So you want to max these out to rank 20. But yeah, overall, TLDR, what you're looking to do is max out your boss powers to 20, finish your seasonal journey, and then finish your board, the seasonal reputation board that's going to allow you to craft mythics through the spark, right? So yeah, hopefully that helps some people. This wasn't meant to be like a super in-depth guide or anything. This is just, I'm just getting started myself. I just hit Torment 1, and I just want to make a quick video. I've seen some posts on Reddit of people complaining they don't know what to do. They're not powerful enough to get into Torment 1. So this is what I did. Not saying it's the best, but hopefully it helps somebody out there. If it helped you in any way, guys, we do have some links in the description. We have we got a website where we're starting to make some Diablo 4 guides. We have a small Patreon page. If we help you with any of our guides, any of this information helps you at all, please consider checking out our Patreon. One thing that I am going to start doing, go to membership here. One thing that I am going to start doing is, if for people who are our Patreons, I'm going to help them run dungeons in both World of Warcraft and Diablo 4. I'm not going to do anything in League, but I will personally run dungeons with you in either of those games, and I'll help you. There's got to be a limit on it, right? It's not going to be like I'm going to carry you in every single, but I will help you do some stuff if you're a Patreon member. Like I'll boost an alt for you or something, whatever. And yeah, just try to help out where I can. That's the whole purpose of the channel, is just try to help out where we can. But anyways, I'm ranting at this point. If you guys enjoyed the video, again, please consider liking and subscribing. See you in the next one.